When working with a table saw, it's critical that the fence is parallel with the blade and the miter slot. The reason for this is if the fence is at all out of alignment, it can result in burning on your workpiece, binding, pinching, or even dangerous kickback. Let me show you how to align your fence. Before aligning your fence, you need to be sure that your saw's blade and the miter slot are aligned in parallel. You can learn how to do this in your saw's owner's manual. We also provided instructions for this in a separate video that you can find the link to in this video's description. Aligning the blade and the miter slot is a process you shouldn't have to do very often, but checking the fence's alignment and realigning it is something you'll want to do on a regular basis because the fence can get knocked out of alignment just from daily use of the saw. Now there are a number of ways to check the alignment of the fence, but I think the easiest method that's still accurate is to simply use your finger as a gauge to feel along the miter slot and the fence. To do this, simply place your finger on the sidewall of the miter slot closest to the fence. Next, slide the fence over until the face of the fence is flush with the side of the miter slot. Then slide your finger down the miter slot to the back edge of the saw and check to see if the fence and the miter slot are flush at that end. If both ends are not flush, then you'll need to adjust the fence. Now it turns out this fence is slightly toed in, meaning the back side of the fence is closer to the blade than this front end of the fence. So we need to make some adjustments. And the way we do that is by adjusting some set screws. Each fence is a little bit different, but basically we're going to be turning one of these two set screws, and those will move these tabs, one or the other, in or out, and that will torque the fence closer or further away from the blade. Let's make some adjustments. Now these set screws are Allen head screws, so I'm going to use this Allen wrench and I'm just going to make very small adjustments. Now in this case, we want the fence to move that way, so I'm going to thread it in to push this. That's going to torque the fence, okay? And now we recheck the fence. And we continue this process of adjusting the screws and rechecking until the fence is in alignment. Now I'm guessing you might be a little skeptical of the accuracy of using your finger to test the alignment of the fence. But I think you might be surprised by the sensitivity of your sense of touch. So to test our results, I used an instrument called a dial indicator. This will measure the distance between the fence and the miter slot. I measured the distance from the fence to the miter slot at both the front and the back of the saw. And it turns out the back end of the fence is only 8/1000ths of an inch further from the miter slot than the front end of the fence, which is perfectly acceptable. Really, as long as the difference is less than 15 to 20/1000ths of an inch, you're good to go. So remember, periodically check the alignment of your fence against the miter slot. Keeping this fence parallel with the miter slot will help ensure great results with your table saw.